So today, to get ready for tomorrow, Monday, let's talk about longitude. There was a great book written a while back, I think 1995, something like that, called Longitude, about how there was a huge reward. Everyone tried to solve the issue of how do we figure out longitude. We had latitude for years, but we didn't have longitude, and obviously navigation was very difficult. This is a short book. It's a great book, very fascinating. You learn so much. But in the end, the answer was you needed a chronometer. And it was a timekeeper, but this was different. It was done to a specific time. And so the way they did the solution is they ended up with like Paris Mean Time, Lisbon Green Time, Greenwich Mean Time. Mean times all over. Wherever you sailed from, that's where you created your mean time on your clock that you brought onto your ship, so you would understand your longitude. So this was in the early 1700s, okay? And so but in 1884, the prime meridian was basically invented. What this was everybody on Earth got together and they adopted the Earth's prime meridian as Greenwich Mean Time, okay? So Greenwich Mean Time was where we set up all the time zones in the world. So why is this important? There's only one city, one financial center in the world that every time zone, every other trading city in the world is open for at least 1 hour a day in London. So no matter where you are, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours that you can work with everybody else in the world on financials. So London will probably always be the financial capital of the world. But that's not the only reason that it's the financial capital of the world. Everywhere in the world, we have hypothecation, which is what we call margin. And you know how we do it. If you want to go margin your stock, the firms will lend you up to 50% of the price of the value. Then there's all kinds of rules, but basically 50%. As you know, banks are different. They're like 10, 15, 20 times leverage, so 20 to 1, not half of 1. And of course, we know the hedge funds are far more leveraged than that, all right? So this is across the world. This is how everybody is, except for one spot. And yes, that spot is London. In London, they have something called hypothecation. And what that is you can stop and read this. I encourage you to do it. But basically, it's multiple reuses of the collateral. So think about how we do stock loan in America, okay? You have to have the stock in your account that you short, or you have to have the firm where you're keeping your stock pledge you the securities from their own holding so that you can cover your short, okay? And so it's 1-to-1. You get to hold it one time. Well, in London, they say, you know what? You can do it as many times as you want, okay? Not one. So your 100 shares can become, well, what's your imagination say? So this number 2 here, you can read, it increases leverage. It allows financial institutions to maximize liquidity and profits by leveraging the same asset repeatedly. But in number 3, this could lead to over-leveraging, where failure of one party in the chain can trigger widespread defaults and financial instability. And I just want to point down there at the bottom, example, hyperhypothecation was a contributing factor to the 2008 financial crisis, where excessive reuse of collateral led to systemic vulnerabilities when institutions face liquidity crunches. And here's an explanation of hyperhypothecation with margin. And you can see number 3, it's collateral velocity. That's what they call it, which means this resembles the money multiplier effect. So they're literally creating money out of thin air. And where rehypothecation increases liquidity in the financial markets, it also raises huge amounts of risk in the system, default risk, okay? So El Arians today, he came out and said, hey, look, things seems to be clear. The market indicators this weekend. The last few trading sessions were characterized by significant reduction in leverage exposure, right? As well as the sale of winners to fund margin calls. In our last video, as you know, I said, look, gold's going down. It's a winner. They're selling it to pay their margin calls. And he basically says that all assets are dovetailing together here. And what are they dovetailing around? They're being sold to pay off leverage. So, why do we care? What does it mean to us? Well, I think you already know, all right? So when we say that our financial system is so intertwined, okay, and there's so many, let's say, possible weak spots because of what we allow to happen in the plumbing of our global financial system. When you have an event that we're having now, this is not about recession. This is not about inflation. This is not about tariffs. It's not. This is about deleveraging. And when they deleverage, the first thing they have to do is they have to go back and pay, Peter and Paul on whatever their strategy was. And then finally, if they have any money left over, where did they invest it then? So we're not even there yet. We haven't been through what do we have to liquidate so that, one, we can pay the margin calls, and you saw all the firms are asking for more margin. Now they're worried. And of course, people like you and me and investors, they're going to ask these guys for their money back. And so they're going to have to build up cash for that. So we really don't know how this is going to work out. Yes, it could be bad, but we don't know that. And I wrote the other day, the world doesn't end in one day, okay? It doesn't. But we can start the process of deleveraging, which could go on for whatever, a couple weeks, a couple days. Hopefully it was done Friday, but we don't know that, okay? And given the indications that we're seeing, tomorrow morning is going to be challenging, to say the least. So what we're going to look for is, are there any blowups? Is there the hedge fund out there that blows up, the private equity firm that blows up? Look at our credit spreads, they blew up. And we have a lot of private credit now. And all these private credit funds, they don't mark the market. They could blow up now. There's a lot of issues out there, but it's all based around leverage. And so my bet, so if you go back in history, Nick Gleason, if you know your history, brought down Barings Bank. He was in Singapore, I believe, but he blew up in London, okay? MF Global, big commodity firm in Kansas, okay, for America, blew up. Guess what? Where was it located? London, all right? JP Morgan, when they had their $6 billion loss, where was that loss? London, okay? London is the epicenter of leverage for the global world. Watch London, and we'll know which way this is going to go. What do you think? Like and follow, and please tell me in the comments.